have another book haul for y'all. It's a very, very full banker's box full of books. I probably should have put this in too, but more is more. First thing I'm going to show you are the books that I am going to keep. First one is I did find a 1980s copy of Mona Lisa Overdrive by William Gibson. It is a hardcover copy. It does have a little bit of dust jacket tearing, but overall I think it's really cool that I was able to find this for very, very cheap. So I have that now. I was also given a gift. So this came in the mail for me. I do believe this came from Robert. I might be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. This is The Saint of Bright Doors, which I believe is the most recent Nebula Award-winning book. This Nebula Award Challenge has now spanned 2 years, and I still haven't read them all, but that's okay. The list just gets longer. I read one, and then a new one happens. I think this came from Rob. I'm not 100% sure. Rob, if this was you, please let me know. But I'm excited that I have another book to add to that Nebula challenge that I may one day finish. And now, this book, I am debating if I want to keep it or if I just want to sell it. This is a hardcover copy of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think I read this once when I was little. I don't think I've read it since then. You know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to this and then read it because I don't remember it. It's been so long. This is probably like something I read as a child and don't really remember. And of course, it's so ubiquitous in media, like made and remade so many times. I might be conflating the fact that I read this with just saw it so many times in like cartoons and shows and references that I might not actually have read the book. I'm going to keep this until I read it, and then I will let it move on to a new home. Everything else I'm going to show you is going to be for sale up on Whatnot. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Thingy will be over here. I will also put a link in the description. If you use that link, you will get a $15 credit towards your purchase if you are a brand new Whatnot user. If you are not a brand new Whatnot user and have been here before, I will put a pinned comment down below of the actual direct link to the show, so that way you could just go and bookmark the show if that's what you're interested in. Because unfortunately, I can't give you another $15 credit. Whatnot will not let me do that. So all of the paperbacks are going to start at $2 and the hardcovers are going to be $3. First book I'm going to show you is from Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is The Complete Land That Time Forgot. So all 3 books in one nice trade paperback quality with dinosaurs on it, which is always lovely. There is that. So that is only $2 and you're going to get 3 stories, which is less than $1 per book. Because there's 3 stories in that one. There's also 3 stories in this one, so this is going to be $3. So it's going to be $1 per book. Hellfire, The Unwanted, and Sleepwalk. This is John Saul. He is a horror thriller writer. There's the gentleman himself in his full 90s dad garb. That is a thick book. Sherwood, a novel by Park Godwin. Kind of a retelling of Robin Hood. It's a fantasy retelling of Robin Hood. We have Christine Feehan, A Dark Celebration, a Carpathian Reunion. So this is a dark romantasy. Sexy vampires. There is that. Now for some paperbacks, I have The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan and The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. This is the mass market, and then this is a premium mass market. You can see the difference. So book 1 and book 2 of The Wheel of Time. And actually, the Robert Jordan, the first book doesn't have any creases in the spine. The second one does, but they're in great shape to find them pre-owned. We have my absolute favorite cover of The Hobbit ever. It is the pleasingly plump man in the bad wig with the Spirit Halloween Schmeagol behind him. I love this so much. I think it's Schmiegel. I think that's supposed to be Schmiegel. It's amazing. I love it. Every single cover from this 90s printing of the Lord of the Rings books just make me laugh. So I have this. This can be yours if you so desire. The best cover, in my opinion. We have an actual vintage science fiction book. This is Robert A. Heinlein, The Green Hills of Earth. I think this is a 60s edition, even though the copyright in there says 1951. I think this is a little bit more recent than that. But it says 15th printing, so my guess is around the 60s. There, we have fantasy book, a Black Company fantasy book. Glenn Cook, She is the Darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I really like these covers. Very moody. I feel like they take, like whoever is the artist is that does this, like will just randomly find a drawing of two people and then just make it fantasy. I feel like that's what they're doing here, because it's just literally looks like two people standing around that they just made into fantasy. This is horror, Brian Lumley, Blood Wars. I think it's horror. This might be like vampire-y horror fantasy. I'm not sure. It's vampires. I'm pretty sure this is vampires. This is the third book in the Belgariad, The Magician's Gambit by David Eddings. This has 5 books in it. This is the very middle book. But there is that one. This is Triss. This is a Brian Jakes books I've never come across. I've found and I've bought and sold many Brian Jakes books. I collect his books in hardcover. I love his Redwall series. You don't need to read them in order. Each book is its own standalone novel. It follows a fantasy world of anthropomorphic animals, but they're not like anthropomorphic as in their people size. They just have little societies and fantasies and go to war, and it's super cute and I love it. This is not one I've seen before. Triss. I will let this move on to a new home because I will hold out for the hardcover. Classic horror, we have a 90s printing of The Dead Zone from Stephen King. I've bought and sold this book multiple times myself as well. We have Rediscovery, a novel of Darkover by Mercedes Lackey and an awful person. There is that. Let's see, we're going to do some more Stephen King. We have Desperation by Stephen King with the creepy bear head there. That is very creepy. Another Stephen King novel, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. It's one of his blessedly short ones. There is that. Okay, I hope you guys are interested in some Anne McCaffrey, because boy do I have a lot of Anne McCaffrey for you. First one is The Dolphins of Pern. That is a muscly dragon, or Dargan, as I like to say, that I've ever seen. Although I think that's technically a wyvern. Anyway, The Dolphins of Pern. The Wares of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. Less muscly, that one. Dragon's Time. This is one that she did in collaboration with her son, Todd McCaffrey. I love the difference in depiction by the different artists of these dragons. Another one with Todd McCaffrey. This is one of the ones I've actually read. This is Dragon's Kin. Of course, I read this when I was in high school, so do I remember a lot of it? No. Do I remember enjoying it? Yes. The Master Harper of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. When I get that unlimited amount of time, I totally want to just like sit and read all of the Pern novels. This one is neat. The Chronicles of Pern First Fall, and it's neat because the dragon is embossed, which I've not seen before on her mass markets. That's pretty cool. Miracle's Story by Anne McCaffrey. Another Pern adventure, but this one doesn't have a... Oh, I was going to say it doesn't have a dragon on a cover, but then I see it in the background. There's that one. And then The Renegades of Pern. I believe this is one I've also read. But again, I don't remember. It was a very long time ago. I just remember enjoying the books immensely. We have the Elfstones of Shannara. I believe this is a late 80s cover. Nope, this is an early 90s cover. But it does have a corner missing on the back there. That is the first book in one of the sets of books by him. Eric Flint, The Tyrant. We've got a wannabe Xena warrior princess there on the cover. It's Eric Flint and David Drake. We have another Annihilation copy by Jeff Vandermeer. I reviewed this on the channel. I really enjoyed it. This is, of course, the movie adaptation trade paperback. This I also just recently reviewed. This is a YA fantasy novel, Lament. I will be going ahead and selling that one because I'm going to let it move on to a new home. Mercedes Lackey. We have The Snow Queen by Mercedes Lackey, looking like one of those princesses you pay for children's parties to dress up as drugstore Elsa. I am not selling this very well. I am just giving you like the meanest commentary. The Vampire Diaries, The Awakening. Now this one looks like a late 80s, early 90s edition. That's 1991. It is also missing a corner and chunk back here. Why did I pick this up? I think it's just because it reminds me so much of Christopher Pike books. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me, this is definitely something I would have picked up as a preteen to read, like at the library or at the thrift store. That's probably why I picked that up. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. This is a video game book based on the cover. That's why I kind of thought this would fit in here. You can choose if I did well or not. This is one I've never seen before. This is Ginny and Star Eye by Sherry S. Tepper. Little dryad in the back there. This is actually a vintage science fiction anthology. 17 Great Science Fiction Classics. Where do we go from here? Edited by Isaac Asimov. Who does this have in it? This has Heinlein, Blish, Clark, Del Rey, and Asimov. Does it have anybody else really cool in there? Gunn, Hal Clement, Walter Tevis. Interesting. So, short story collection. And that is from 1972. Some Piers Anthony, Race Against Time. Looks like Professor X is going to dole out some punishments for some wonky X-Men children there. I know that that's not what this is about at all, but that's what that looks like to me. We have The Nightmare and a not terrible cover by Piers Anthony. I have the best cover of this book in hardcover over here. The whole reason why I bought it. I might never get around to reading this. But this is the book club edition. Look at how ridiculous that is. That looks stupid. Look at those centaurs versus this one. One of these looks more interesting to read, even though it's the same book. Although I guess to be fair, the fact that the art is so bad does make that book look interesting to read, but for different reasons. That definitely looks much better as far as a cover goes. Even though it's the same book. This is a 1983 edition. I have The Interview with a Vampire, the first book in the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. Also a TV show now, and a movie starring Brad Pitt, Kirsten Dunst, and Tom Cruise. This is gothic horror. Peggy Darty, The Precious Pearls of Cabot Hill. I do pick up these gothic horrors whenever I find them, because they do sell for me. If they don't sell on Whatnot, they sell on eBay very well. And some Orson Scott Card. We have Xenocide, Children of the Mind, and the third book in the Tales to Alvin Prentice. Looking at his magic piece right there. Just like, look at my piece. There's a very bro motion here. Look at my shiny thing. Just makes me laugh every time I see that. Alright. More McCaffrey here. We got some hardcovers. Now the dust jackets are not in great shape, but they're hardcovers, so the books are in good shape. This is Dragon's Eye by McCaffrey. I already have this one right there, or I would keep it. And this is Moretta, Dragon Lady of Pern. Also has some dust jacket issues, but the book is in good shape. And it has a hair in it. Ew, it doesn't have it anymore. This has got the deckled edges from 1983. There is that one. We have Karen Marie Moaning, Spell of the Highlander. So this is a little romantic-y smut for you, if you are interested in that, to go along with that Christine Feehan book. Dragonlance book, Dragons of Summer Flame by Weiss and Hickman. Really nice hardcover, very pretty cover. Good art on the front and back. Michael Crichton, Thick Boy. Again, you're getting 3 novels just like with that John Sal book. You get the Andromeda Strain, the Terminal Man, and the Great Train Robbery. Another Thick Boy. Sherilyn Kenyon, Bad Moon Rising. This is a Dark Hunter novel, so another dark romantasy as well. This does have some foxing on the top, which is just a breakdown of iron in the ink and paper making process. What's that? Piers Anthony. We have Harpy Time, another Xanath novel. I like this artwork. I think this one's pretty. I think that's very pretty. I think that's the most attractive harpy. That like looks more like a fairy than a harpy. Michael Crichton Micro. This is more thriller. Little sci-fi, but mostly thriller from Michael Crichton. And the last book, Sharon Lee and Steve Miller, Alliance of Equals. This is a Leiden novel. So military sci-fi, or modern military sci-fi. So that is everything. It's quite a few offerings here. Hopefully you guys will join me Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. If not, I hope you just enjoyed this video and looking at some books that I picked up recently that I have been able to find and gather from since my last book haul. Again, Rob, if you were the one that sent me A Saint of Bright Doors, thank you very much. And I'm so glad I found that Mona Lisa Overdrive book, because I'm looking for that one, and then I'm looking for Burning Chrome in hardcover, because Neuromancer, definitely. The joy that I got from Neuromancer is the reason, it's the whole reason that I started doing the Nebula Award challenges, because I realized all the books I liked that year that I read were all Nebula Award winners, so I was like, I should read all of them, and that has turned out great. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will hopefully see you Thursday. If not, I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye!